Hey traders, Raghee here. How important is the daily time frame, or more specifically, how effectively are you using the daily to find and trade better intraday? Let's take a look at what we did this morning in the chat room, and hopefully you'll get some insight into the importance of the daily and the work that I do on the daily that sets me up for higher probability trades when we shift over to a 1 or a 5-minute time frame. So first of all, this morning we had a gap that opened below both the low and the close of the previous session. That's really important, a dual confirmation gap. We had that on the Dow and we had that on the S&P. So we knew we were going to get some more intense potential gap fade, meaning in this case, gap down typically leads to gap fade buys. We knew the probability for that was higher today. Now, one of my favorite setups intraday is the gap fade buy to an HPMR or V score low. So I have my hourly price movement range, my HPMR, which is a volatility exhaustion support level, and then I have my V score low, which is a volume derived exhaustion level. And take a look here. This is the S&P. Look at the way we hit the HPMR. Look at the way we hit the V score. All right, so this is the one that I took this morning, and this was the first trade actually. This was the Dow. Same idea. Proximity to HPMR, boom, V score. And again, the movement lower that we saw, the great thing about this is this ends up being a fade, really, of the gap down. I think one of the bigger errors is after a gap down to have a bearish outlook on the market. Our directional bias is bullish, and even more so after the gap down, as long as we can find that the market is respecting and reaching and then respecting these volume and volatility derived support levels. So then let's take a look also at the NASDAQ. Again, what are we looking at? What is the tendency for the daily to set up higher probability directional bias, and then letting our tools define where that opportunity, boom and boom, is waiting. All right, so that's really what I want to talk about. Are you using the daily? Are you using the gaps to find these exhaustion levels? And these were happening right after the bell. I love days like today. We're just looking for that move higher off the lows. And this is the kind of setup, these are the kind of setups that you can find when you incorporate more of the daily analysis. And this is about one of about 6 different things that I'll look at on the daily to set up trades intraday. And a lot of these intraday trades you should be pretty familiar with, because this is going right back to those volume and volatility levels with a little bit more help from the Darvas. We'll have more on the Darvas probably this week. We'll talk a little bit more about Darvas levels and the importance of the Darvas as a third factor, a price-based factor into these setups. I'll see you in the next update.
Without simpler trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency.
It's one of the things that won me